Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Yes, I'm back. Did you miss me? I want to know if you miss me because I've been gone for 2 weeks and it's been a very, very busy time. Last week, my daughter and my grandson were here, and so we took time off. Of course, I took time off with them. We went to this amazing restaurant. There's a great restaurant. It's called The Lighthouse, and if anybody lives sort of locally, you'll know it's in a town or on the edge of a town called Englewood, and it's the lighthouse, and this incredible thatching. It's got a huge roof which has been thatched, and the thatching absolutely fascinates me because it's actually the thatching is made of palm leaves. So I was sitting with the owner a while ago who was telling me that they put they take the palm leaves and they cut them into strips while they're still green, and they weave them together or whatever it is they do, and then they use it as thatching. And as they put the thatching on and the sun hits the uh, the palm leaves, they turn this sort of gorgeous sort of golden brown, lightish brown color. And they you can look up into the rafters and see where all of these uh, palm strips have been weaved together. Now in England we have thatching. We're a big, used to be a big thatching country, and there are still houses, beautiful houses with amazing thatching. But I've never seen thatching done with palm leaves before, and it sort of quite fascinated me, and it intrigued me as well. So anyway, so I took my daughter and my grandson there. We had a great dinner, and it's right on the water. So, you've got the pelicans, you've got the dolphins, you can see fish swimming there. It's an amazing place. Best of all, the food is really, really good. So I feel as if I'm an ad for the Lighthouse restaurant, but I'm not. It's just, if you're ever in this area, this is a place you really need to go and try out. Anyway, and so what happened the week before? Yes, I'd had the decorators in, the painters had come in, and they'd painted the walls, they'd painted everything in the house, all the woodwork, so on and so forth, which meant that I had to strip every little piece of every ornament, all of the books. I don't know if you can see them behind the bookcase there. All of the books, the crystal decanters up there, which, because I'm a collector of really good crystal decanters. Don't need any more, thank you very much. If anybody's thinking, oh, Rosemary's birthday's coming up, shall we get you a crystal? I've got tons. So, but anyway, if you were thinking about it, thanks for the thought. But then, of course, you remove everything, you take everything away, you leave the room. I didn't have to completely make the room bare. Some pieces of furniture stayed, but most of it was gone. And then, of course, when you put it back, then you have to wash everything and soap everything down and clean everything down and all of the ornaments. And I had no idea that I've got so much stuff. So I've also been sorting things to give to Goodwill, giving things to friends, etc., etc. And so it's been a very busy 2 weeks, but here I am. We're back together. Did you have a wonderful Easter? We had a fantastic Easter. My daughter and grandson actually had to leave on Sunday. So it's amazing how the Easter Bunny knows these things, don't you think? So on Saturday night, we'd gone out to dinner, we came back, and the Easter Bunny had arrived. Now, in my house, we always have a total treasure hunt. The Easter Bunny leaves notes in everything that you find, little poems, little ditties, little puzzles for you to figure out where the next piece of chocolate or the next gift is going to be. So it takes a while, but it's a lot of fun. And my grandson, of course, he's 12 years old. I don't know why this is, but he's absolutely convinced that I am the Easter Bunny, because he tells me that all of the notes that I write, all of the notes it's like a little verse, 4-line verse for each thing that you've had to go find. And he's convinced that he recognizes my writing. Well, now, if I were really the Easter Bunny, I would have disguised my writing. But he caught me. He caught me out this year because I write my capital F different than most people, and I write my capital T's differently than most people, because I learned to read and write when I was in Germany when I was 6 years old, and so I still, to this day, do the same thing. And he looked at me and he said, "It's funny, Mosey, that the Easter Bunny writes his F's the same way that you do." He is 12. What are you going to do? So, but we had great chocolate. We had a great time. It was so fun having them here. And, it's always great to be with family. So while you're writing your little notes, those of you who like to go into the chat room, I want to know about your Easter. I want to know, did you spend it by yourself? Did you share it with someone? Was there chocolate involved? Because there always should be chocolate for Easter, right? What was going on with you over the Easter holidays? Did you get together with family? So that's what I want to hear from you today. Now, I'm nattering on. Before we go any further, first of all, I'd like to say good morning to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who is, of course, standing to my right side. I'd like to say good morning to Chris. Hi, Chris, wherever you are. And I'd like to say to all of you watching, good morning. It's Friday. What are we in? What month are we in? Oh, yes, we're in April. It's Friday. It's ticking along really fast. I don't know what the date is, but I know it's getting towards the end. I think it's the 25th or something. Anyway, tomorrow we're going to have our cracking up session with my friend Kay. So that'll be fun too. So, Chris, before we go any further, am I talking to myself or is there anybody there?
There are definitely people here. And when you first came on and asked, did anybody miss you? A number of people quickly typed in, of course we missed you. So
Oh,
the first two on there were Gary and Annie, straight off saying they missed
great.
you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Of course, Gary's coming to visit very soon, so that's exciting too. Anyway, all right. Do we have any comments yet, or anything that anybody wants to say anything, or anybody wants to tell us anything about what they've been up to while we've had this 2-week break?
We seem to have a theme happening in the chat room right now, Rosemary, where
Okay.
a bunch of people are asking for healing in different ways, shapes, and forms. So I don't know if you want to do anything about healing during the show today, but I can start with one of the first requests.
Yes, let's go through the requests and then we'll see what we can do.
Okay. So Dean says, my nurse daughter is having extreme unknown medical problems. Does Gray Eagle have any insight? And I will have a double surgery on May 13th, my birthday. Please put me on the healing list.
Okay.
Then we have Annie. Rosemary, I'm so anxious. They found something on my mom's kidney. They don't know what it is, but they mentioned cancer. Tomorrow we will find out. I'm so anxious.
I think it's going to be okay, but keep going, Chris.
And then we have Anna Meek. And Anna Meek says, Dear Rosemary, I have been depressed and in fear for many years now. I did a lot of therapy, but nothing works. Can you please tell me the source of this and how I can resolve it?
Okay. Well, these are all questions and concerns that need more time than we have today. So I'm going to suggest, Chris, that we organise a healing time. Either next week or the week after. We'll take a look and see what we've got going, where we'll do a healing session, and I can answer these questions we'll have more time to answer these questions, and we can perhaps offer help to people as to how they can combat their own fears and their own concerns. I will mention Annie because the kidney thing, and anybody who knows me knows I'm a kidney fiend, only because for the last, well, let's put it, for the first 19 or 20 years of my life, I had 2 kidneys. However, we did not realize that one of those kidneys was totally malfunctioning, and to cut a long story really very, very short, I had to have 2 major surgeries, and then they tried to rectify what was going on. Nothing worked, so they basically had to take it out. And they took out a kidney, they took out a rib, they put in some plastic bits and pieces. Nothing really worked. That was it. But I know that when people are having issues, when they're having difficulties, I know, and Annie, I know that you must be really concerned about your mom and so on. But take a good look at me, because I've lived with 1 kidney for and I'm going to have to. Sorry, I'm being. Sorry about that. I've turned this off. Sorry, I meant to turn it off. I know that, look at me. I mean, we do talk about everything is attitude, and everything is about attitude. And honestly, when I take a look at my body, it's an amazing thing. It's weird, just as I am. My uterus is back to front, and my kidney, I was born with all this stuff with the kidney, and we don't want to go on and on for all the other bits and pieces, but there are quite a number of bits and pieces about me physically that, let's just put it this way, are not quite normal. No surprise, because I'm not normal either, really. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, first of all, we've got 2 kidneys. So if they end up having to take out a kidney, which I'm not saying, that's not what I'm saying is going to happen here, because I think it's going to be fine. There are lots of things. I have a cyst on the 1 kidney that I have, and living with it perfectly fine also. So it's hard, because our mind, when we get sick, our mind goes to perhaps the worst scenario, when, if we can just hold off, stand back a little bit, and understand that especially with, kidneys, with lungs, we've got two of each of those. We can manage perfectly well with 1. It's not so dire. As I'm saying, I'm a good example of having, I'm an old lady now, and here I am, and I'm still perfectly fine, and I just recently had a checkup, and it was so funny, because the girl I was, they were doing the sonogram and everything, and she hadn't properly read the notes, and I could see her frowning and looking confused when she got the thing on the sonogram, or the machine, or whatever. She was putting it on my left side, and I said to her, "You won't find anything there, sweetie. That's been gone for a long time." And she looked at me and she laughed. I said, "As long as you can look on the right side and that one's still there, we're good." So it's about attitude, and we can either sort of have an attitude of, poor me, which is very easy to do. And don't think I haven't done it, because I've done it, from time to time over the years. we can have an attitude of, oh, poor me, or isn't this awful, or what have you, and so on. Or we can hold on to the faith. It's so hard when things are going wrong to hold on to our faith. It's so hard when things are going wrong to actually try to think, this is God's plan. I can deal with this. I'll get strength and help from, wherever I need it. I know, Dean, I'm going to address your issue with your 2 surgeries coming up, because I know that you have immense faith, and I know that going in, you'll go in with a really great attitude. And if you go into these things with a good attitude or a positive attitude, even though it's difficult, it is difficult. I'm not saying it's easy, but even though it's difficult to go in with a positive attitude, it gives you a better chance, because you are able to deal with things in a stronger way, in a more positive way. And it's certainly that positivity and that right attitude, that good attitude, is what helps us to combat what is going on with us. And it also helps, very much helps with the healing process. So I think we'll try and arrange a healing session in the next week or two. And, then if you go to the website and check the website, or if you want to sign up for the newsletter, if you are not already signed up for the newsletter, we will let you know when this event is taking place, and then we'll have so much more time for each of you individually. Chris?
Well, we continued. Tammy says, my Easter was spent alone, but that's okay. I hope yours was wonderful, Rosemary. I was just hoping for any insight, if I may, in regard to myself, as I have been struggling a lot lately, all my love.
Well, we go through these phases, don't we? Sometimes we're having a good day, sometimes we're not. Sometimes it seems like that good day is lasting for ages and ages, and so I think that I love it that you say you spent Easter on your own, but that was okay. I like that. I had to take my daughter and grandson to the airport on Easter morning. So there was no celebration time, and there were no invitations. I didn't go anywhere. My neighbors who would have invited me went off to Orlando to visit their kids in Orlando to have Easter there. Was it okay? Was it okay that I spent Easter Sunday? Chris actually was wonderful and took time out of her Easter Sunday to actually take to take us all to the airport, and then brought me back. But then she had to scoot off because, I know that she has a friend, and she needed or wanted to spend time there. I mean, I think that we just have to, especially as we get older, we just have to understand that sometimes, and I like being by myself. I'm a solitary person. I love people. I love being with people, but I love being in my own home. I love putting my feet up with a good book, and I can read for 2 or 3 hours can go by and I won't even notice. I think, again, I think as far as this situation is concerned, I think that, sometimes the fact that we're alone, the fact that we're on our own can really, really get to us. And I think that what we have to do is to, if we can, and I know there are a lot of people who physically can't, or financially can't do this, but if we can, I think we need to make an effort to mix with other people, or to be with other people, or to join a group that we're interested in, or to find things that we love to do with other people. We can do that online. We don't even have to go out of our front door anymore. We can do that. We can find ways and means. Sometimes we're so depressed, or we're so fed up, and we don't know what to do. But look to see what is it that you would actually love to do. What are the things that interest you, and then go online and see if you can find, if you want to go out and about and meet people on a physical, personal level. Find out when those, things, when those events are happening, and go do it. If you would prefer to stay at home, but still you need cheering up, or you still need someone in your life that you can talk to, or perhaps you confide in, there are lots and lots of organizations online, and there's no need for any of us to be alone anymore if we can make the effort. And I know it's hard to do it, but if we can make the effort and get out and about, whether it's on our sofa and out and about with like-minded people that we can talk to, and join in conversations with people, or whether we actually want to get our butt off the sofa and go out there and meet people. We have to do this. I mean, there's it's so much these days that is depressing, that we have to make an effort, as much as we often don't want to. We have to make the effort to join in, or to be productive in one way or another. Chris?
Annika says, good morning. I'm at my hairdresser's right now. I have
Hi.
color in my hair, but my
Ooh.
hairdresser had to step out to take his wife home from a colonoscopy that didn't go as planned.
Oh.
So I'm in the salon all by myself so I can watch the show and turn the volume up on my phone.
Oh, good for you. I hope he comes back at some point, or he sends somebody to come and finish your hair for you. I I won't say. I was going to say I don't color my hair. I never color my hair, but that isn't true. When I was in my, sort of late teens, early 20s, you could buy these shampoos. Wash the color in. It'd last for 6 weeks, and then you do it again. And not that I had any grey hairs. I just wanted to experiment and to see, which was ridiculous, really, because I always had great hair, but since those times, I don't dye my hair. I've never dyed. I've got a bit of a grey streak there, but I always, I look at people, and I admire people who do have their hair coloured, because it seems to me that it's, once you start to do it, then you've got to do it. Isn't that right? I mean, I'm lucky. I'm lucky because I only have a little bit of grey here and there, and so I don't really need to dye my hair. But good for you. I hope you're not dripping too much, and watch for those drips as they come down your face. I used to help somebody, a friend of mine, to dye her hair, and it didn't matter what we did and how many towels we put around or how much cotton we put around. There'd always be these little streaky drips coming down, different, with the dye, that sort of then would leave a bit of a mark. So watch for those drippy bits. And I'm hoping you're enjoying the show, Chris.
Dean says, some of my surgery is kidney also, so thanks for the healing. And Annie says they said it was either a cyst or cancer.
Yeah, okay. I have a cyst on my kidney. I don't know how long it's been there. The last time I went to check, they found it. What are you going to do? I've got one kidney. If the cyst bursts and there's blood all over the place, well, I guess I'll bleed out then. What are you going to do? I mean, there are some things that you can't do too much about, and then there are other things that, medicine is great today. They have lots of cures, they have lots of things going on. And as I've said, unless you're like me, I mean, I only have one little kidney left. So, but most people have two kidneys. So if one goes haywire on you, at least you've got the second one. That's how I feel. However, I don't want to make light of it, and I know that you must be worried, but if they've said it's a cyst, you can live with that. Very often cysts, they come up for no reason whatsoever, and then they just go away. So, and as I've said, if it's the worst issue, they'll lop it off, and your mummy will be perfectly fine with one kidney. I promise you. It'll be fine. And Dean, ooh, yeah. Kidney pain is horrid, isn't it? It's the worst ever. And I can testify. When I was carrying my daughter, I was telling somebody this the other day. When I was carrying my daughter, I was on 9-month bed rest. I had to have injections every week with big long needle in the top of my thigh in order to prevent miscarriage. I tell you, my body is very weird, right? It's just weird. So I was literally on bed rest for the 9 months, and I'm going to say 2 or 3 weeks before she was due. All of a sudden, I was rushed into hospital, and anyway, we dealt with it. We dealt with it. We deal with things, if we deal with them positively, you know, it's good. But during labor, things were not great. Those of you who have had horrible labors will know it's the worst pain. It is awful. Let's not pretend, but you've got this gorgeous gift at the end of it, right? So, but it is the worst thing. People think that going into labor and having a baby is the worst thing ever. Now, that's fine. And I had a tough labor. So I'm going to testify that labor is awful and painful. Dean, aren't you pleased you're a man? However, then I have my kidney issues, and I can attest to the fact, being a woman, having been in horrible labor and having kidney stones and kidney issues, and you know, my kidney was deformed, so it wasn't working. I can testify that the kidney pain is worse than labor. So Dean, I'm sending you lots and lots and lots and lots of healing, and please keep me posted on what's going on. Chris.
All right. Eric is saying, good morning, Rosemary. It's so nice to see you back. I hope you are pleased with the decorating project.
I'm thrilled, actually. They did an amazing job. It's so nice and fresh and clean, and yes, I'm thrilled. Thank you.
He says, my friend cannot take the pain meds, and she does not like medical marijuana. Does Gray Eagle know of any other remedy for pain for bone cancer?
Well, we have talked about this a little bit. There are all these, what do they call it? I can't think. What is it, Chris? CB or CD or
CBD oils
CBD,
or
that kind of thing. And there are, now it depends where in the country you are. I know that in Colorado there is more of this stuff available, different kinds of stuff available than there are, for instance, in Florida or certainly in New York. I know that different states are able to provide, and I know that if you can go to someone who really knows what they're doing about this, they know how it works, and if you can, you know, find a place where you can get this stuff, it is phenomenal, and it works, and it really, really works really, really well. So that's, you know, I'm going to suggest that, and you know, I'd be interested to know, you know, what is it about medical marijuana that she doesn't like? Because we just talked about kidney pain, right? We just talked about kidney pain. And I was on, at one point, not that long ago, about 10 years ago, I was on a medication that I totally became hooked on. But I had to take the medication because I remember at some point I was actually at the grocery store. I'd parked the car in the car park, and I was actually walking across the car park towards my car when I literally collapsed, fell on my knees and then on my face with the most excruciating pain. And you know, I don't like to talk about these things. I'm fully aware that there are other people who have suffered far greater things than I've ever suffered. But I do know that when you're in that amount of pain, you take what you can. It's good to be strong, and medical marijuana isn't particularly, if you get the right stuff, isn't particularly addictive. The pain meds that I was on Nicodin, and it took me literally 3 years of nighttime horrors. I mean, I was literally hooked on this stuff, and every time I tried to get off it, I couldn't. It was a nightmare, and I'm a very strong-minded person. If I decide I'm not going to do something, I don't do it. But I'm telling you, the pain beat me every time, and then you get all those things crawling all over your skin when you're in the middle of the night, and you're having these hot sweats and nightmares because you're trying to get off of something that you are literally hooked on. And when I think about all of these poor people who are trying to get off of their addictions and so on, I mean, it is not an easy thing. So I understand why people don't necessarily want to take pain meds, but I'd like to know why it is that she won't try medical marijuana, because when you're in so much pain, you do try anything and everything you can. And as I've said, the CDB oil, depending on which state you're in and depending on the people you go to, I know there are those things that will really help to really help with the pain and really help with relaxation. Because if what happens when you're in serious pain is you're in serious pain and it just grips you, and then you're tense, and then you become anxious and so on, and that tenseness and anxiety makes it worse. If you can at least get rid of the tension and you can be less anxious and you can relax a little bit more, the pain may not go away, but it certainly can be eased. So that would be my advice. Chris?
Yolanda is asking, would Gray Eagle be able to tell me about my health?
Yes, but certainly not today. I'm going to suggest. Hold on a second. I'll come back. I'll come over. Sorry, I have my neighbour not realising I'm busy. So, I think that during a consultation, people often call me for a consultation. They want to find out about their health or their issues or their whatever it is that they need to find out. On a show like this, we've got an hour, and in that hour we have lots of people with lots of questions. So if you want to know in detail about your health, it might be worth you thinking about having a consultation. You can book it, you can go to my website, or you can go to my email, which is rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. I forgot it for a minute. And, find out and book an appointment if you want to do something like that. But unfortunately, with these shows, they are, short term, without taking time away from everybody else. I'm afraid that would be my suggestion to you, to have a consultation. Chris?
Mark says, I'm facing surgery on June 12th. Please keep me in your healing prayers.
Mark, you know that I will, and if you could email me and tell me, more about it, then we can give you the help that you need.
Let's see. Annie says, Rosemary, do you think it's a cyst or cancer? They won't remove her kidney. She is 90.
Oh, well, then I'm going to say whether it's a cyst or cancer, it actually doesn't matter. Did I just say that? I did, didn't I? She's 90 years old. I'm hoping she's had a great life. You can live with cancer for years and years and years. I think it's more likely that it's a cyst because of her age and so on. But I'm not going to say specifically. But whatever it is, at 90 years old to have to go through all of this is tough. But stay positive, keep positive, because this is not the end of the world. She is going to survive it. I don't think it's the thing that's going to finish her off. Let me put it that way. I don't think she's going to die from this. I mean, if she's 90 years old, she's got to be tough. She's got to be strong. Wow, I already love this lady. And just when you get to 90 years old, you want peace, you want calm, you want comfort, and I think she'll get all of those things. Chris.
A number of people are offering suggestions for pain management in the chat. I don't know if you want me to call them out.
We can, however, okay, let's be very clear now. I always advocate your doctor, your healthcare provider, the people who are, totally into your healthcare are the people that you should be consulting. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try natural remedies, because there are many of them out there, and I recommend going to I've forgotten his name, Alan Mandel. He has a YouTube channel, and he has some great natural remedies. I believe in natural remedies. However, I'm pleased that you're all involved in this, and I'm pleased that we're all having a discussion about it. But I am not an expert. None of you are experts, unless you maybe are. We're making suggestions here, but we're not saying this will cure or that will cure. So when anybody's listening to your suggestions or my suggestions, you have to do your own homework and do what is right for you and make your own decisions here. So let's hear a couple of those suggestions, and we'll see. I'll give you my opinion. Okay.
Tammy is saying CBD.
Yeah.
CBG.
Yeah.
CBN. And RSO for pain.
Yeah, you've got to, yes, I would investigate all of those, Annie. Thank you for that. We appreciate that. And as I said when we were talking about it, you need to first of all, find a state where they can provide this stuff for you. I know that if I were in pain, if I were in this much pain and we couldn't get whatever we needed in the state that I'm in, I would go to a state where I could find it and try it. I'm not suggesting that you do anything illegal, but I don't understand why these natural remedies are kept from us in some states, but they are. But I think researching this and maybe even trying it out, but talk to somebody who is an expert in this. Talk to somebody who grows this stuff or produces this stuff. Talk to someone who really knows what they're doing about this. I know that in Colorado there is a great facility. I'm not going to mention its name. Do your research. There's a great facility that provides really lots of these remedies, but they also provide advice. They'll ask you what your issue is, and then they'll recommend what they think is going to work for you. Because what works for one person does not necessarily work for somebody else. But thank you for that, Annie. I appreciate it. So everybody should do their homework, and I agree with you, Annie. Find these things out. Next, Chris.
All right, that was from Tammy.
Tammy, I'm sorry. Thank you.
That's
Tammy.
Okay. D says perhaps essential oils could be of help.
Yeah, exactly. They're right. And also you've got those little, what do they call them? They're like, I forget what they call them, but they're like little salt tablets, teeny tiny things you put under your tongue. And then they're absorbed into your tongue, which is a good place to apparently absorb medication like this. You need to just, check things out and just try things out, but try and talk to experts in these different fields. I can't remember what they call these salt tablets. They've been little tiny different types of salts, not just but anyway, for different things. But I know that they work, and I know that there are many things that work, and I know also, when somebody says, so you've got arthritis, and you don't. I always say to people, don't eat or drink anything from the cow, because dairy can be. I love butter. I'm never going to be without my butter. But if you are suffering different things, or salt is another thing that I know. Salt tablets are different than salt, but if you need salt, have sea salt rather than regular salt with sodium. There are lots of different ways that we can go to help ourselves, but see if you can find experts in these things that you can talk to, or you can, and we've got Google, haven't we? I mean, just you find anything on Google. Try to investigate yourself. Try to investigate what it is that you're looking at, and look for the experts, and see if you can find someone to actually have a conversation with, to talk to. It's because that's important.
All right. Eric says she didn't like the smell of CBD, but it was years ago that she tried that. I suggested inquiring again since there are new developments. I will suggest looking in a wider range. We are in California. Thank you.
Well, if you're in California, then it's ready. Let's do this again. It's readily available to you, because I know that in California they support this, and there are lots of places that supply it. But do please try again. It's silly to be in pain if you don't need to be. But sometimes it's hard, when you're trying to do this on your own, and especially for older people, it's hard. It's hard sometimes to investigate, but do please investigate, because in the area of natural remedies, so many great strides have been made. But what makes me smile so much about all of these natural remedies are they've been going for thousands of years. They're not new. They're just things that we are discovering now. They are, comfrey is, comfrey. Comfrey, when I was in England, comfrey grew in my garden. It was a weed. It just grew everywhere. But yet comfrey tea is amazing for stomach ailments. Comfrey is amazing to make a poultice for if you have a cut or a burn or anything. I mean, and now I do believe you can buy comfrey pills at the pharmacy. I have no idea how good they are, but I used to make comfrey tea on a fairly regular basis. As I said, it used to grow at the bottom of my garden like a weed. And there are so many plants, so many things that we can grow ourselves, that we can use ourselves. So, if you are suffering, or if you are in pain with these things, please, 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 you don't need to be in pain. And if you can't do it by yourself, then ask someone to help you. Chris.
Randy says, my son was diagnosed with Crohn's. I sent you an email a few weeks ago to pray for him.
Yes.
Not sure if you received it because I didn't hear back.
I did. And unfortunately, we get so many emails. I'm sorry, when we don't mean to ignore you. And when anyone asks for healing, absolutely. If he has Crohn's, then his diet is very important. And what he should and should not eat is very important, because I'm thinking of nuts and stuff like that can cause such flare-ups, but it's not nearly as dire a situation as it used to be, because now I think more and more doctors and experts have got a handle on it, and you can control it. And so, what you need to do is to not inflame it in any way. And there are certain foods and certain drinks that do inflame the situation to make it worse. I do hope that he does his homework. I do hope that, you can really sort of figure out how he needs to live from now on, what he needs to do. I don't think it's nearly as awful as you think it is. I love nuts, and I've been living without nuts for years and years. And every time I see them, I think, I used to love smoked almonds, but of course I can't have them because I have all these horrible issues. But so then find something else that you love, or get in the kitchen and make something that you love. And I can't eat. I love certain berries, and I'm not allowed berries. Can you imagine not being? We think blueberries and raspberries and strawberries, and we think they're all really, really healthy. For me, deadly. Can't eat them at all. There are ways around these things. You don't have to starve, and you can occasionally cheat here and there, as long as you don't do it too much. But just you have to find a different way of living. It's not about going on a diet. It's about finding foods that are good for you, finding foods that are right for you, and sort of then, making these things work for you. Chris.
Randy says, I wish you can tell me what that place is that offers holistic help for my son because I do live in Colorado.
Right. If you then email the office, Al knows the name of the place, Chris. So
Okay.
we need to ask Al if he'll let us know. So where it is, there's this place that does all sorts of things. And we have a friend who lives in Colorado. He sometimes comes on the show. We do an Everything is Attitude with him. I'm not sure when are we doing another Everything is Attitude. We're doing 4 of these a year. We did one a couple of months ago, so maybe we can talk about that sort of thing then. Maybe Al can help us and talk about these things then. But if you can email us, we'll see if we can get you the name of that facility. Absolutely. Yes.
Gary says his mother puts a couple of drops of CBD in her coffee in the morning to help with her joints. He also said, I just celebrated 21 weeks of being pain-free from stomach attacks. I can't explain it.
Woo! Yay! I'm so happy, Gary. Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, those of you who don't know Gary have no idea what a big, big thing this is, because Gary, you've been suffering with this. Gary had you won't mind me saying, I know, a motorbike accident years ago, and destroyed a lot of things physically, including his stomach. But I'm so glad now that it seems to be, maybe your angel had something to do with it, Gary. Who knows? Chris.
All right, I'm trying to.
It seems to me that we're having a lot of people who are curious about health and well-being, which makes me more determined. I think we should do something in the next couple of weeks, and maybe, we'll put it out there. We'll let you know when it's happening. If you can't make it live on the show, you can always see it. We record things. You can also see it. You can see it recorded as well. But we'll try and do something with this.
Jillian wants to know what your thoughts are on Reiki.
Oh. Right. Many years ago, I was in China, and I learned a lot about the Middle East and the Far East. One of the things I learned about Reiki was that we're talking about sort of in the Middle and Far East probably mostly. But anyway, one of the things about Reiki is that in every town and every village and every, place, space and so on, they had, very much like the Native Americans would have their seer or their sage, whatever you want to call it. There, some people call it a witch doctor, but we don't go quite there. But every, so in the Native American culture, and they still do today, they have that wise man, the seer or the healer or whoever he is, and in certain places around the world, they have the same thing. And they would always have a Reiki master. Right, now, a Reiki master is chosen by a Reiki master, who is chosen by a Reiki master. We're talking about it's a generational thing. Not necessarily from the same family, but if a Reiki master sees a child or children, sometimes very young, and they feel that they have the ability to do Reiki, they'll invite that person, that kid, to come into their house, and they grow up with the Reiki master, and it's an honor. It's a huge honor, and the parent sort of, hands over the child to the Reiki master, who then trains the Reiki master up. Only when the Reiki master dies or retires, I think dies mostly, does the new Reiki master, who might be 40, 50 years old by this time, might take over the duties from that village, or working with the Reiki master. Anyway, basically, it is a truly phenomenal thing, learning about energy, learning about techniques. It is a lifetime training. Now we have, bless you all, the Americans, and who, love did you know that there are more books sold, how-to books sold in America than in any other country in the world? We love our how-to books, don't we? We like to how to do this and that and the other, and then we buy another one because this one didn't tell us quite the quick fix. So let's go to the next one and see if that'll tell us the quick fix. Anyway, through certain people, all of a sudden, you can become a Reiki master in 3 months, and bingo. So what has taken a lifetime, what has taken people a lifetime to study and to train, now you can do it in 3 months or even 6 weeks. I've seen people say, you too can do a course of Reiki, and you can, in 6 weeks time, you can be a Reiki master, which is nonsense. You did ask me. I don't look down on Reiki. I think it's amazing. And I've been to studies, and I have been invited into groups, especially when I was in Hong Kong. I've been to groups to give talks to people who work with Reiki. It can be phenomenal. It can be really phenomenal. But, I don't like this idea of, for instance, I'm a healer. I've been a healer for more years than I care to imagine, and I've trained healers, and I've had healing centers in England and also here in the States. I know a great deal about it, but would I ever call myself a shaman? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I know a lot about it, and I've been trained by a great eagle to use energy and to use visualization techniques, etc. And I'm proud to do it. So I would say I am a healer because it's easy for people to understand that. But I'm simply a person who knows how to do healing. Never would I say, oh, I'm just like Grey Eagle. He's a shaman and therefore I'm a shaman. That's just not how it works. So I'm now getting off of the subject. I think that Reiki in the right hands is amazing. I think that healing of any sort, in the right hands is amazing, and it works in the right hands. Chris, was that diplomatic?
Well, I think it's truthful. So,
Well, yeah, well, of course it's truthful, but yes.
all right. Mark is asking, when Gray Eagle was on Earth, what
Yes.
was his spiritual journey like? And had he any idea he would be a spirit guide?
Mark, how much time have we got? We've already said this is only an hour long. I love the question, and I love that you're interested. And maybe one day, when we do a Grey Eagle Speaks, maybe we could learn all about Grey Eagle. But then you wouldn't be getting messages, would you? Or we wouldn't be getting anything for ourselves. We just have Grey Eagle talking about his life. That would be phenomenal for me, but not necessarily for anybody else. But I'd love to answer the question. We don't have the time. But thank you.
Well, you are right up against time,
We
and
are.
there are no more questions.
Right. And I'm hoping that everything is okay with my neighbours, because it's not like them to come knocking on my door like this. So I have to hot foot off of here and go and see if they're okay. So, all right. So, first of all, tomorrow night we will be with my friend Kay doing our cracking up. What time will it be, Chris?
5 p.m. Eastern.
5 p.m. Eastern time, which is 10 p.m. British time. That's as much as I can give you. And so, I think that's right. Anyway, yes, I think that's right. So we'll be doing cracking up with Kay. We're going to be talking about, what to look for, how we often ignore those voices that we hear, or that those thoughts that's come into our head. The spirit world guides us and steers us, or they try to. But how many times do we ignore it? And when should we listen? And when shouldn't we listen? So we're going to be talking about that and giving a couple of examples about that. So we're going to have fun tomorrow night. We should be back here next Thursday with another The Spirit World Sees All. And please watch, because we're going to try and figure out when we can do a healing session for everybody, because obviously the tone of the show today shows me that, you've got lots of questions, and we need to spend a little bit more time doing that. So until I see you again, thank you for joining me. I'd like to say thank you to Chris. I'd like to say thank you to all of you in particular, and very especially I'd like to say thank you to my spirit guide Grey Eagle, who is always here and always with us and always willing to talk to us and to help out with whatever we need to know. So please, everybody, again, thank you all for joining us. We'll be back next week with the same stuff, different subjects, different questions, but the same stuff. Until then, please, everyone, have a very, very blessed rest of the day. If you join us for Cracking Up, we'll love it. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And please, everybody, have a very blessed rest of the week and a wonderful weekend. I hope you do something wonderful this weekend. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.